we're going to be looking at the Switch Lite versus the Switch OLED. Hey guys, it's me, Christina. Welcome to 128KB. Today we are going to be looking at, as I just said, the Switch Lite versus the Switch OLED. So, in terms of what kind of gamer I am, I'm not like Andy, where he's like a full-on nerd and he reads every article and he's really into it. And I'm not quite like Pete and AJ, where they're kind of more casual gamers. I'm somewhere in between. So for me, I've always gone for the Switch being my sort of non-serious gaming console. I much prefer using the PS5 or my PC for serious games. The reason why I went for the Switch Lite in the first place is because it's a bit smaller for my hand size, and I usually game at Christmas and things like that on it when I'm sort of sat downstairs and everybody's chatting and it's getting really boring because everyone's watching something boring on the TV. So I put my non-serious games on there, and it's one of those things that I kind of do when I can't access what I call a proper console.
Hang on, or when we're using the Switch on the TV.
Yeah, but you use the Switch. That's your Switch on the TV,
Yeah,
not mine. This is mine. This is yours. This is mine. So we do play Switch on the TV, but that is the proper Switch. That's more Andy's kind of thing. Anyway, so going back to what I was saying, I went for the Switch Lite for those purposes. So would I really go for a Switch OLED at this point? Probably not, but let's look at as to why I would and why I wouldn't. My hand size, as I said, is extremely small. So when I actually went to use the Switch OLED, I really found that my hands are quite spread and it's also quite heavy. So I found that when I'm doing things like Hot Wheels, which I really like, that's a fantastic game by the way, I found that I really struggled to kind of move the sticks and hold everything. I could do it, I could reach, but it wasn't quite as comfortable as my Switch Lite. I also found that the one thing that they have changed is the game card slot and the little flap that you open to try and get in there and, you know, put the game in. When you've got nails like myself, and I like my nice manicured nails, and they're quite long and they're also thicker than normal nails, if all the ladies out there know, or whoever wears these kind of nails knows that they're a lot thicker. Trying to get your finger in the new game card slot to open that flap is much harder than it is on my Switch Lite. That was a little bit frustrating. The one other thing that I don't really like about the Switch OLED compared to the Switch Lite is the fact that it is a little bit heavier, and by a little bit, I probably mean quite a lot. So this is one of those things where I like my Switch Lite. I like my little bag that I've got, my little unicorn bag, which is amazing. So I love that. I love that it goes in there. It's really light. It's really easy to...
Here you go.
Thanks. I think you've seen it already. I love that it goes in here. It's really light. It's really nice. And it just means that you can carry it around. And it's really cool. And by the way, this is like amazing. This is probably my favorite one that I've seen. So yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. So basically, that's all of the negatives really I can think of between why I wouldn't go for a Switch OLED personally. Looking at some positives, I would say obviously they're all obvious. I mean, I'm probably pointing out everything you already know. It's got a kickstand. The Switch Lite hasn't. It's a better kickstand than the original Switch. You can play 2-player on this one. You can't on that one. So there are some positives there, but for me personally, and what I use the Switch Lite for, it's kind of irrelevant. I don't play 2-player on my Switch Lite. I don't intend to, I don't care to, because we've also got a normal Switch that we put on the TV. So for me, it's kind of like we've got both, and mine is the Switch Lite and Andy's is the Switch. So again, we kind of use that as a TV console and that as a portable handheld gaming console, really. So it is two totally different things. But in terms of the thing that I like most about the Switch OLED is the big elephant in the room, the screen. I don't know what anybody's talking about when they say they can't see the difference between the screen. I mean, you must just have you mustn't have them together, or you must have forgotten what the old screen looks like, because genuinely, I don't sit here and compare, but when I had my first impressions of it, it looks like it's ultra HD because of how good the colors are, because the blacks are actually turning the pixels off so that you actually get definition between them. There isn't this weird white haze that goes across the screen. And it's just so much better. Like, I don't understand how anybody can say that they can't see the difference. And I also don't get why people say that it's not worth it, because it's the exact same reason that you would buy a 4K OLED Bravia TV screen that we've got to play your PS5 on. Yes, okay, it's an expensive kind of upgrade, but it's exactly the same to me as buying a TV so that you can look at the 4K graphics on your games. So I don't get it. Like, you know, hate on me, troll me right now, because I don't care. Like, I just think that if you're a handheld gamer, this is a massive upgrade. It makes the games look so much better. It's so much more immersive. There's a bigger screen, again, so the immersion is even better. The sound is so much better than the Lite and the original Switch as well. Like, I just think it's fantastic. I would personally like to see, the one thing that would make me happy though, because I probably wouldn't go for one of these for the above reasons I've mentioned, I would really like to see an upgraded Switch Lite. So, for me, I love everything about this, but it's too big, it's too heavy, and it doesn't suit my gaming needs of what I look for in the Switch. So I would love to see an upgraded screen and, you know, upgraded sound and all that kind of stuff in the Switch Lite, because for me, that would be epic. I mean, having the amazing OLED screen on a Switch Lite would make my day. I mean, in Christmas, sitting there looking at everything all nice and bright and colourful, like, that would really make my life.
But I bet you would want the screen bigger, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But that's part of the upgrade that came with the OLED, isn't it? So
yeah, that's what I mean. So if they made the Switch Lite a bigger screen, because at the minute the Switch Lite is 5.5 inches, if they made that maybe 6 or 6.5 inches or something like that, and then made it OLED, would that make you happy?
Absolutely, of course it would.
Okay, and now
I want that in that
shell. Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, put it on a different perspective then, because you have a Switch Lite because, you know, I have the Switch or the Switch OLED for the TV. If you didn't have a full-size Switch, would you consider upgrading to a Switch OLED?
No.
No,
Only because I use the Switch for just either, like I say, I would either have this one for portable gaming or that one would be for the TV. So I'd never see the OLED screen. So I'd go for an older Switch because I wouldn't be looking at this screen. So this would be a waste of money for me. So I would literally just if I just had this and I didn't have a proper Switch in our household, then I would just get like the old Switch, because all I'm going to do is dock it.
Okay, what about if you didn't have any Switch at all and you had the ability to play all of them first?
That's difficult. Only because of the above concerns, because of the size of my hands, how heavy it is, and the way that I game with it.
What about if you got a grip?
If I had we'll see, because we don't know yet, because the grips aren't out yet. So let's revisit this one when the grips arrive, and let's see if my, perspective on this has changed, because it very well could do. With a good grip, this really could end up being very, very comfortable.
What about the old Switch with a grip on?
I didn't really like it. It's too big. Look at this.
Yeah, but it's more comfortable.
Yeah, but look at my thumb. My thumb barely reaches that, look.
Shift your hands up.
I can't, because I'm not going to be like,
yeah.
Am I like...
Play it like a monkey.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just too big for me. It's too wide. The grip makes it wider, so it's kind of, I don't know, this grip is too big for me. If they made a smaller grip that was...
like this one?
Yeah, well, let's try that one. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, isn't it? I think it really does depend on how you game with it and your size of your hands. I mean, Andy hasn't got massive hands, mind, for a guy at least. Yeah, see, that's better. That's better. I can reach. See, look at my thumb. I'm not like that now. So I've kind of got more reachability, but it is still really heavy. I mean, obviously this is the old Switch, but it is still really heavy. But this grip does make it better. This grip does make it better, I would say.
So knowing that, and assuming that the new grips for the OLED are better again, which they will be, because that's, you know, an old grip, would it be difficult to make a decision between a Switch Lite and the OLED?
If I didn't have anything
at all,
the only reason I'd probably go for the Switch OLED, the only reason, is because it's newer. And I'm one of these types of people, whether it's phones or any technology, I want to be ahead of the curve. I don't want to be buying something that's like 4, 5, 6 years old or whatever. You know, like I don't want to be doing that. I want the newest thing so that I can keep it for longer and it will be, you know, up to date. So yeah, I'd rather future-proof myself. So the only reason I think if I didn't have a Switch at all, the only reason I would go for the Switch OLED is to future-proof myself. And the fact that you can play 2-player and you can have it on your TV and all that kind of stuff. But for me as a gamer, currently, having both, having the old one and having the new one and having the Switch Lite, I would say that it's Switch Lite all the way for me because of how I game on it. But now I've seen the screen on the OLED, it's kind of spoilt the magic for me on my old one. So I want that in that, please. Otherwise I'm gonna be really sad. But yeah, so there you go. That's my take on it. Like I say, I'm not a nerd in any way. I haven't read any articles. I haven't done anything. So this is really a first impression for me. I can see straight away the value for having a Switch OLED. I can see the value for not having it, and I can also see why people would go for a Switch Lite. So let us know down in the comments who you think is right. It's obviously me. So leave those comments down in the bottom there. Make sure that you subscribe too, because 128KB is just a small channel and we're only going to get bigger by you guys supporting us for free. And remember, it is for free, so please help us out. And whilst you're there, make sure you check out our website, 128kb.co.uk. And I'm Christina. I will see you next time.